How do you form an opinion as a teenager in the sea of slop we call social media? One tells you to treat women like princesses, putting them on pedestals, taking them on like 20 dates before you can have sex with her. And then the other tells you to treat women like a bag of meat, looking them up and down like just a piece of meat, and to not give a shit about her at all. The other tells you to enjoy life, party. And the other tells you to stay disciplined in these young years. One guy tells you the stretch is the most important when it comes to exercises. One tells you that it doesn't actually matter. Who do you listen to? Who the fuck do you listen to? There's so many opinions in social media. How can we examine the facts and see for ourselves what is right? And that's exactly what you need to do. Examine the facts. You see, obviously, every opinion that is on the internet has to come from somewhere. Some literally have genuine experience and some type of evidence to back their opinions up. Some are just kind of, salty because something didn't work. So they assume that everything is like this or something. For example, Blackpool people. I think you can tell what my opinion is about the Blackpool. But the Blackpool is the idea that looks are the only determining factor in how successful you'll be in life, especially women. And then the red pill tells you that your worth, your genuine worth in your financial state, your looks, your emotional stability, all the factors, you basically need to be an alpha for the red pill. And then that will bring you success in just general life and especially women. And then the blue pill tells you basically everything is fine, you'll get your dream woman, treat her like a queen, slay. I think you can tell what my opinion is based on that, but I examined the facts and I'll tell you how. How did I form my opinion on one of the most debated topics in the sea of slop, which is called social media? How did I form an opinion on the black pill, red pill, and blue? Experience and action, and just examining the facts. First of all, you can't just listen to someone and just assuming they're right. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever done. Just listening to someone's opinion and then not even questioning it and just applying it right away, assuming it's right. One of these things that I listen to is like looks maxing. I'm not telling you about the black pill itself, no. Just the looks maxing and the tips. You know this thing it's called thumb pulling. It's the idea, if you get your thumbs and then you kind of put them in your mouth and pull outwards, it'll somehow make your jawline better. And I genuinely tried it. Like, because I believe this guy. I mean, you could see his photos and this and that. It looked genuine. So I tried. Well, I actually tried only 1 week. The thing that I tried the most is neck training. Now, what you get out of neck training is a thick neck. What this guy told me is if you train your neck, it'll do it'll kind of pull your jaw forward or something, and then it'll basically give you a better jawline. So I did that. It did not make it better. Neither did it make it worse. I just got I would say, pretty beefy neck. That's it. So if you literally just try what they say, that's the easiest thing. That's the easiest way to actually judge and form an opinion on a certain subject. But I know all of us are not going to just try some random shit that people tell us. No. So this is why we just try other things. For example, blue pill, red pill, black pill. I still strongly believed, before I even tried any of this, that hope. The red pill gives you hope. The red pill tells you that, sure, you might be disadvantaged now, bitch, you can build it up. If you don't, then you're cooked. But at least the red pill gives you some type of hope. Black pill doesn't. So why would I go there? Blue pill, all men have experienced the blue pill. I don't even have to form an opinion on that. We've all tried to treat the woman like the first woman we took on a date. You know, we were very respectful. You know, we barely made any moves, like trying to make her comfortable and just looking for signs, and then paying for the food. I mean, paying for food, you know, okay. But, you know, like all the, you know, stereotypical things you do on a first date with a woman to be like respectful and like be a nice guy, basically. You ask her about, oh, how many siblings do you have? Oh, what's your hobbies? You kind of do that, right? And, you know, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that don't work. I mean, if you can't agree with that, then either you didn't do that because A, you haven't pulled a bitch in your life, or B, you thought you did that but you didn't, and you like did some. You're either extremely attractive. In that point, I do agree with the black pill that if you're extremely attractive, you do have a lot of advantages. Or you're like sometimes like you kind of did the red pill. And you kind of did the red pill. So how did I form my opinion on this? First of all, the blue pill was obvious, okay? The blue pill was obvious because I've already experienced it. Being a nice guy to the woman, it just turns them off. It dries up their pussy. Okay, so okay, that's gone. So we narrowed it out to two. Black pill, red pill. Be alpha, look good. Both, like if you just look at it, makes sense. I mean, most of us know that looks play a very important role. But some of us also know that there's been some really chopped motherfuckers on this earth who have pulled baddies. So which one works? So I knew that I wasn't that attractive. You know, I definitely, first of all, when I was first trying it out, I didn't have my physique. Or, you know, I built up a pretty decent physique, I would tell. And, you know, basically the hair, I had fluffy hair, yeah, cool. You know, I was just very chopped in general, right? So I couldn't really try the black pill either, so red pill was just right there. You basically act as if you were already the best person on the planet Earth. You're obviously working towards something. And that's really it. You kind of, this is the rule that I learned from some YouTubers like Hamza Ahmed, and also from a book called 48 Laws of Power. Oh my fucking fly. I have shorts on that are climbing on my fucking legs, whatever. So, what was I saying? Yeah, 48 Laws of Power. I forgot what the chapter was, but basically, act like it. Yeah, okay. What most people know it, fake it till you make it. You fake something, fake like the personality. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Fake the personality or fake the trait till you get the trait. And basically you'll have the benefits here to when you get the benefits, basically when you basically get it, right? You get the benefits of the confidence from the physique if you just fake it to when you actually get the physique, right? So I did this. Well, I didn't really do it in the sense that I just switched the mindset. That no one can do that. You can't just do that. You still know that you're chopped, and you still know you're skinny, that you're fat, you're skinny fat, you know, you still know that. You can't just like, switch the mindset. But like 6 months down the line, when I put on some decent muscle, you know, I could probably bench like, I think 75 kg for like 1 rep. I mean, my PR back then, like when I started, was like 30 kg. Like I'm talking 1 rep, right? So that's a decent amount of progress. Excuse me. And I got some confidence. I had somewhat of a bicep, not somewhat. And I felt kind of confident. So when I was around women, I would act as I was like that playboy, that cool. Like, even though I basically only had been on 1 date, I basically just acted as if I was already the playboy, right? And they fucking fell for it. They fell for it. It was so fascinating. They thought I was like some... Obviously I didn't tell them that, okay, I fucking slept with 100 women. I didn't, obviously not. But I basically had the persona and the personality of like a fuckboy, right? And they dug it. They dug it. Left or right, I was getting bitches. Okay, not just left, right. You still have to like level up and step your game up, okay? Obviously I wasn't fucking Playboy. I didn't go from this to this in like 2 seconds, no. But even with that, women believed it. Not just because they believed it, like I said, okay, I did this, no. That's just lying, right? But just acting like it. So first of all, I did that. And then, like I was 14 then, so I was only hitting puberty. I was just like entering puberty. And then sooner down the line, like my face started developing a little more, my voice as well. And I figured out how to style my hair, all that shit. And then eventually down the line, I got the physique, right? So, in that way, I proved that the red pill is true. The black pill isn't totally false, in the sense that looks don't matter at all. Of course, looks matter. That's basically the first impression. First impressions are everything, right? That's basically one of the reasons people came up with the black pill. Like first impressions, like you've probably seen this in real life with like teachers or anything. If you have a bad impression, like for example, in the first year, like the first week, you did some random bullshit in school, and then you'll get punished for that for the rest of your life, or at least until those teachers go away. You don't have those teachers anymore. You'll basically get punished, not like directly, but like there'll be a more harsh grading your exams and stuff. That's the idea. Impressions, like first impressions, which is not totally wrong. I'm saying if I was not, I'm not saying I'm fucking 10 out of 10, but I'm pretty confident in my body and my face, right? Sorry about that. My fucking my iPhone storage just ran out there, right? I'm recording too much, I swear to God. So if I didn't have the looks I built up now, I would have probably a little struggle. I mean, basically the confidence and the personality came from self-improvement. Of course, I mean, saying that's kind of dumb. Take everything away, you'd be a complete degenerate. Of course you would. I mean, if you took your physique away, your looks away, your whatever away, of course you wouldn't be the same person. I mean, that's where it was built up from. I mean, not just the physical part, but the personality part, the social skills. I would definitely have if you took it all away, of course I'd be a fucking degenerate. But yeah, so the black pill does have some type of meaning to it. I definitely do agree with the fact that looks do matter, but that's not the only playing factor. That's probably only like 30% of the factor when it comes to success in life, and obviously with women. I mean, I've seen some really fugly dudes, like repulsive, like they look physically repulsive, and I mean they still pull, but not. They kind of pull like probably max 3 out of 10s, right? But I mean they're pulling more than you. It's because, not that they're confident, but they're kind of delusional and so retarded in a way that they pull because they just think they're there, right? They think they're that guy, right? Obviously, it's kind of good that you feel insecure because that pushes you to be better, right? To build a physique and whatever. Other than these guys who stay delusional forever. I've talked about that in another video. Might link that. I will link it. So that's really how you form an opinion. You first of all examine the facts. What opinions on the subject are there? I don't know. Let's take a random political opinion. Abortion. What is abortion? The woke, not the woke people, but they are. But the Democrats say abortion should be legal. The Republicans say it's a very sinful thing to do, and it should be illegal. So let's examine the facts here. First of all, if you're religious, it's a sin to kill. It's a sin to murder. And yeah, people say, okay, but baby, they're not really alive until they're born, which is complete bullshit. When they're still like an embryo, they're not alive. They might as well die. And God, I should have done this more neutral so I could tell you like not tell you basically what opinion I have, like so we can examine the facts and stuff. But okay, whatever. So okay, as soon as the child is conceived, and basically the sperm enters the egg and does all that shit, after like a week, the baby and the fetus, or the fetus, not the baby, gets brainwaves in the first week. So in that, first of all, technically, you're killing a living being. You're killing a living being right away. That's a living being. That's murder. That's a sin. If we're looking at from not just a religious perspective, but a moral perspective. You've just taken away the chance of a baby to live life. And some people argue, okay, but that baby wouldn't have had a good life because the mother is a single and the father is away or dead and she's broke. But you can not decide that, right? At least give the baby a chance to live his life instead of just taking it away, assuming that his life will be so shit, okay? So if you look at it from a moral perspective, religious perspective, just general logical perspective, you'll come to the opinion that some things are true and some things are false. Like the opinion on abortion. Obviously, probably you could tell what opinion I have. I believe abortion should be illegal. Not just from a religious perspective. I mean, the thing is, I cannot really argue for that because I'm not religious myself. But a general moral perspective, the thing is, it is my fault. Well, yeah, it is my fault that if I were to impregnate a woman and not want it. And the same with the woman. It's your fault that you got impregnated, of course. There are always exceptions. Maybe the woman got raped, drugged, whatever. Not drugged, what am I talking about? She got drugged, then raped. Maybe the woman got raped, okay. That is a moral, justified thing. To kill the baby, I mean, imagine if me giving birth. Okay, if I was a woman and I gave birth to that child, and, it was the rapist child, I would only see the rapist in him, and I'd probably go mad and kill him. Sure, there are some exceptions when it comes to abortion, but just aborting a baby because you fucking, I don't know, the condom broke, or I don't know, you just can't be bothered to put a condom on, or or the boyfriend fucked up the pull-out method or some shit. If it's just some dumb reason like that, that is totally your fault, your responsibility. You do not have the right to take someone's life. Even if it's just the first week. The first week, the fetus has brainwaves. It's literally having brainwaves. I'm not sure about thoughts. I'm not going to say that because I don't know that. But I know it has brainwaves. And then later down the line, I forgot the full timeline, but definitely like in the first 10 weeks, then it has its first heartbeat, and then it grows its hands. It grows its genitals. So if we just look at those facts, literally, it is alive. It's not just an embryo. Like, that's dehumanizing. That's completely moral dehumanizing. Calling a fetus just an embryo. That's completely dehumanizing. And of course, there are definitely exceptions when the woman gets raped, or in some other exceptions, which I can't think of right now. But I mean, I would say the biggest reason is like rape, right? So if you just look at it, you would find that like abortion should be illegal, obviously with some exceptions. Let's see another opinion. Maybe not so much political. Let's do this with a bodybuilding topic. The stretch. Ooh, the stretch. We all know what the stretch is, right? Part of the exercise where the muscle is, well, stretched in the most lengthened position. For example, the bicep, what I'm doing right now. Some argue, I mean, this has kind of been debunked. I think most of us know how important the stretch is now. But let's look at the facts. So, in some studies, like when I first came into the fitness space, like when I started first lifting, that was basically when the stretch was most like popular in like 2023, 2024, right? And I assumed it was like right because I was a dumbass and I didn't really examine the facts. So basically in these studies, most studies that they examine stretch, they compared individuals. For example, on like a preacher curl, imagine I'm doing a preacher curl, right? They examined subjects who did this range of motion, the stretch range of motion, versus subjects who just did this, okay? So what can we see there right away? In the studies, they show that the first range of motion was equal to more muscle growth. More muscle growth than the second range of motion. Then we used our brains and we saw that this guy who used the full range of motion, I just gave it away, fuck. The lengthened, like the stretch range of motion, like variation, versus the guy who just does this. We can see that the first range of motion is way bigger. I'm using a full range of motion versus the guy who's just using a incomplete, like a 70% range of motion, just this instead of this. Of course it's gonna be like, imagine me taking steps. Okay, you can't see my feet right now, but we take two guys. One of them takes full strides. I just took 3 steps there, okay? Remember how close my head is. And then I'm gonna do incomplete strides. Those are 3 steps. Look at my head, it's way further away. It's because I did smaller strides, right? It's the exact same principle here. And of course, I know muscle, whatever is different, right? That's all different. So then we actually decided, okay, maybe the stretch isn't a major playing, like the factor here. Let's try something different. Is it the stretch or is it the range of motion? So we compared, like, not me, fuck's sake, but there was this guy online. I think I'll pull up his page, maybe if I can find it. He ran a study over a couple months with, like, I'm pretty sure, like 100 individuals. The same individuals trained, for example, they only do it with a few muscles, not all muscles. For example, the bicep. I'll do the same example here. Except they just trained in the lengthened part of the range of motion. This. They weren't going all the way. They were just doing this. So, like, imagine me doing the stretch. It's hard to do it in the air, right? With no resistance, really. Stick is not much. And then they did that on the same side, on the same muscle, except on the opposite side. And then they just did the shortened part. This. Instead of doing this, they did this. They compared that on both sides over like a couple months and they found there was no significant difference. I'm talking like a difference of like 0.1, you know. So they found that we misinterpreted the other studies wrong, and it was really just the general range of motion that was important. So that's really how you form an opinion. You look at the facts, compare the things, actually test them out yourself. Obviously not everything. That's really how you do it. And I still agree, to an extent, you should be radicalized in your opinions. Radicalized in the fact that, okay, you look at some facts, like just theoretically on others. So you look at them and you look at them, okay, they did this, okay, but they did it better. Okay, so you think that was better? Try it yourself, because you most likely tried one of the variations of this opinion. For example, red pill, blue pill, black pill. Try it out. If it's worse, or if it's better, okay, then you form your opinion. The red pill's better, black pill's better, blue pill's better, red pill's better. Well, that's how you form an opinion. You actually have to try it on yourself. Hope you learned something.